Have you ever wondered why, among the billions of people in this vast world, you end up meeting and binding your life to one particular person? There are people who pass through our lives as lightly as a breeze and then disappear without leaving a trace. But there are also those who, with just a single first glance, make our hearts vibrate like the string of an instrument struck on exactly the right note. Whether we want it or not, they remain in our lives as a bond of destiny that is hard to explain. Some call it fate. Others say it is coincidence. But under the light of the Buddhist teachings, nothing is random. Everything lies within the wheel of cause and effect and the current of karmic rebirth. We come to each other not only with the bodies of this lifetime, but also with the ties and bindings woven through many past lives. Husband and wife are sometimes not only love, but also debt. It is both affinity and karma. Some people come so we can learn the lesson of loving. Others come so that together we can repay unfinished debts. There are couples who live beside each other gently and peacefully like a clear stream, but there are also those for whom each day is like a storm. Even so, all of it is an opportunity to practice, to transform, and to learn to look at each other with the compassionate eyes of one who understands the Dharma. Signs that someone is an old affinity returning. There are encounters that seem fleeting, yet leave a deep imprint on our hearts for a lifetime. There are people whose arrival suddenly softens our hearts, as if we had been waiting for them from a previous life. Even though we have never met before, in their gaze, in their voice, in the way they treat us, there is a strange familiarity. Could this be the sign of an old karmic bond returning? According to Buddhism, in the endless cycle of rebirth, we have met and been connected with countless beings through innumerable lives. Every relationship in the present is a continuation, the fruit of seeds we ourselves have sown in the past. Some are Dharma friends who have practiced with us. Some are life partners who have walked at our side. Others are karmic ties with whom we once hurt or harmed each other in a distant lifetime. The signs of an old affinity returning are not noisy things on the outside, but subtle feelings on the inside. Sometimes it is a single look that makes the heart pause. Sometimes it is a recurring dream in which that person appears as a familiar figure. Sometimes it is a deep mutual understanding that needs no explanation. And sometimes it is simply the feeling of belonging, as if we had already held hands and walked together through many ups and downs. If our mind is quiet enough, we will recognize it. If our heart is open enough, we will understand that every encounter is a karmic meeting woven from many lifetimes. That person arrives at exactly the right time, neither early nor late, like a reminder that we once promised to meet again in this brief human life. The story of Lan and Hong. Lan is a woman from Bin Duong. Her life had always been quite ordinary, until the day she met Hong, the man who stirred her heart in a strange way after just a few hurried sentences on a bus going home for Tet. I don't know why, but from the very first look, I felt something so strange inside, as if I had known him from some past life. A kind of familiarity I had never felt with anyone else, Lan shared during a tea meditation at the temple. Not long after that fateful meeting, Lan and Hong got married. Their life was far from easy. Both of them were poor, struggling from selling goods on the street to taking on heavy manual jobs. Yet strangely, they never complained about each other. Even when exhausted, they still held hands and got through it together. Lan said, "I used to dream of him before I met him in real life. In the dream, he was a soldier on leave, leading me across a windswept rice field. When I woke up, I thought it was just a beautiful dream. But when I saw Hong for the first time, that gaze, that voice, everything matched. From dream to reality, from a look to the heart, Lan believed that she and Hong were not only husband and wife in this life, but also a karmic affinity from previous lives. They had once promised to meet again, to continue a bond left unfinished. The story of Lan and Hong is not a romantic fairy tale, but evidence of a quiet miracle. Karmic affinity is not just coincidence. It is the result of threads of karma woven through countless lives in the cycle of rebirth. The relationship of husband and wife as a mirror of karma. In the eyes of the Dharma, marriage is not simply a matter of love and debt between two people, but also a mirror reflecting the karmic energies of each person. The life partner we meet today, whether sweet or harsh, comes with precious lessons formed from the very seeds we ourselves have sown in the past. There are couples who live peacefully and harmoniously, supporting each other like a pair of birds in the vast sky. But there are also couples who quarrel constantly, leaving their hearts weary and their minds in turmoil. In truth, both kinds of relationships have their reasons. Both are the result of past causes that now ripen as present circumstances to be faced and transformed. A life partner is not only the one who shares our home, but also the honest mirror of our inner world. When we are still full of anger, that person easily becomes a spark that ignites the fire. When we are full of attachment and clinging, that person easily becomes the one who hurts us the most. But if we know how to contemplate, we will see that no one can truly make us suffer if our own mind does not resonate with suffering. Sometimes the life partner appears to remind us, once you made someone suffer in exactly this way. And only when we know how to respond with compassion, patience, and forgiveness can the wound begin to heal, not only for the present, but also for old karma. Marriage, therefore, is not a place to satisfy personal demands, but a practice ground. Each conflict is a chance to look back at ourselves. Each hurt is a chance to grow up. And each moment of true loving-kindness is a wholesome seed planted for the future. The story of Granny Nan and her alcoholic husband. In a peaceful rural village lived an old woman named Nan who had spent more than 30 years with a husband addicted to alcohol. From the outside, their life was full of gossip and pity. The neighbors called her the most patient woman in the village, but she only smiled gently, her eyes light as the morning mist. "This life I will repay, so that in the next life my heart will be light," she said. In the early years, she had often thought of leaving. Every time her husband got drunk, their home turned into a little storm. But one day, as she sat by the kitchen fire watching him sleep in a heavy haze of alcohol, her heart suddenly grew still and a thought arose. What if, in some past life, I betrayed him, made this very person suffer deeply? Now that we meet again, is this not the chance to repay and transform? From that day on, she stopped blaming, stopped resenting, stopped nagging. She quietly cooked his meals, took care of him when he was drunk, and gently advised him, like constant light rain soaking into the soil. Then one day, he gave up drinking. She took him to the temple, and together they took refuge in the Three Jewels. They began reciting sutras every morning. He was no longer irritable, no longer gloomy. The villagers, amazed, asked her how she had managed to transform such a stubborn man. She merely smiled. "It wasn't that I changed him, I transformed myself. When my own heart softened, the karma also dissolved." The story of Granny Nan is not a fairy tale, but a living lesson about karma and the way to dissolve it through love. She did not curse her fate. She looked straight at it and used compassion as the lamp to light her path. Karmic affinity is not only suffering. When people hear the words karmic affinity, they often think of suffering, bondage, turmoil, and tears. But karma is not always a burden, and affinity is not always a source of pain. In the circle of rebirth, karmic affinity can be what wounds us, but it can also be the flower that blooms from wholesome deeds we have planted. The Buddha taught that wholesome affinity is like a flower, unwholesome affinity is like a thorn. Yet both flower and thorn are parts of the same garden of the mind, where every seed is sown by ourselves. If in the past we have loved, forgiven, and treated someone gently, then when we meet again in this life, even if we are poor or struggling, just being together can already bring a deep calm to the heart. There are life partners who bring neither gold nor fame, but bring peace whenever we face them. They do not change the world around us, but they quiet the storms inside us. That is wholesome affinity, the sweet fruit of lifetimes of loving each other in mindfulness. On the other hand, if in previous lives we sowed resentment, betrayal, and harm, then in this life, even if we still meet again as husband and wife, partners, or relatives, we will not be able to avoid harsh twists and painful turns. But unwholesome affinity is not there to be cursed. It is there for us to look deeply, to transform with understanding, compassion, and patience. When we see our partner not just as my husband or my wife, but as a being connected to us through infinite lifetimes, then every word we say, every way we treat them becomes a choice, either to continue the chain of suffering or to gently loosen the knot of karma and let both hearts be free. We meet each other not to go on hurting one another, but to bring to an end the old karma that has not yet been resolved. When we no longer see that person as the one who causes us suffering, but as a dharma companion on the path of awakening, then in that very moment, unwholesome affinity has already begun to blossom into wholesome fruit. The story of the engineer and the kindergarten teacher. I once spoke about a lay Buddhist practitioner. He was a construction engineer, and his wife was a kindergarten teacher. The two of them loved each other very deeply when they were young. Their love was built on empathy, sharing, and the dream of a peaceful life together. But after marriage, real life was not like their dreams. They began to clash over the smallest things: spending habits, how to raise the children, daily schedules and routines, even things that seemed completely trivial, like chopsticks and bowls being placed a little unevenly in the kitchen. Their differences slowly accumulated into distance. At one point, they even thought about ending the marriage, quietly divorcing to set each other free from those exhausting days. Then one day, when he went to the temple to calm his mind, he happened to pick up a book about cause and effect in marriage. The book was not poetic, did not try to persuade with pretty words. It simply told real stories about karmic ties between husbands and wives. When he finished reading, he sat in silence for a long time. He began to look at his wife with different eyes, as if he had just realized that the person in front of him was actually a long-lost soulmate from some previous life. They began to change. Every evening, husband and wife set aside 15 minutes to sit in meditation together. They recited a short sutra, not long, not forced, just enough to settle their hearts. The conflicts they used to have did not disappear overnight, but gradually they faded. They learned to listen, to speak fewer hurtful words, to replace accusation with understanding. He said, "I realize that I am not just living with a wife, I am practicing together with a friend from a previous life. In this life, meeting again is not to torment each other, but to walk together on the unfinished path from before." Understanding dreams of past lives. Not every dream is just random. There are dreams that recur again and again, dreams of a place we have never visited, of a person we have never met in this life. Yet they make our hearts tremble in a strange way. Those are not simply fantasies. They may be faint memories left over from past lives, fragments of an ancient soul echoing back. A woman once shared that before meeting her present husband, she often dreamed of living in a poor countryside village, where she and another person worked in the fields together and shared simple meals in a small thatched hut. Although the face of the man in the dream was never clearly seen, the warmth and familiarity were unmistakable. When she met her husband in this life, and their eyes met for the first time, she felt as if she were pulled back into that dream. A flood of familiarity rose up inside. Later, when their married life went through storms and difficulties, every time she grew weary, she remembered that dream as a reminder. We once went through an entire lifetime of poverty together without abandoning each other. She went to seek guidance from an elderly monk. The teacher smiled gently and said, "There are things the heart remembers that the eyes cannot see. Dreams can sometimes be the stream of old memories flowing back from past lives. If it is wholesome affinity, then cherish it. If it is unwholesome affinity, then learn how to transform it." The Dharma does not encourage us to chase after illusions, but it also does not deny the existence of these deep layers of memory. Dreams of past lives may be a sign that the karmic relationship we are living now is not accidental, but a continuation of a sacred promise made long, long ago. The elderly couple in the small village and their quiet wisdom about repaying old debts. In a tranquil rural village, there was an elderly couple who had lived together for nearly their entire lives. They had nothing outstanding. No big house, no wealth, no large family of children and grandchildren. Yet whenever people in the village spoke of them, they always said with affection, "Those two love each other so much." Every morning, people would see the old man carrying a bamboo pole with baskets to market, while the old woman walked beside him with an old pair of sandals in her hand. When he was tired, she would sit down and massage his legs. When her back was bent and stiff, he would quietly take her hand and lead her across the road. They did not need many words. Every gesture was a form of caretaking, polished by many long years together. One day, a younger person in the village asked the old woman what her secret was for keeping the marriage happy. She simply smiled and squeezed her husband's hand tightly. It's not that we never argued, she said. But every time it happened, I reminded myself that he is a debt I created in some past life. I choose to repay it with gentleness. Her words left many people silent. There was no resentment, no blaming destiny, no pushing responsibility away, only a peaceful acceptance of karma. It was not blind resignation, but deep wisdom. She chose to dissolve karma in quietness, chose patience as a way of practice. It was precisely that letting go of anger and that spacious compassion that transformed an ordinary marriage into a gentle, wholesome karmic bond. They were not waiting for each other at the end of the road, because they walked together from the beginning to the very end, quietly, but fully. The ancients said, "If you repay resentment with love, it falls as lightly as a flower petal. If you carry hatred while living together, the heart only grows heavier." Perhaps the deepest happiness is realizing that the person beside you today is the mirror through which you can learn to love again, to understand again, and to repay your debts in the kindest way. Husband and wife as a lesson in patience, practice, and transformation. Marriage is not a love story painted forever in rosy colors, nor is it a place to demand perfection from another human being. It is a very ordinary practice hall where we are given the chance to have a spiritual mirror in the form of a life partner, so that together we can learn, practice, and transform ourselves. People often think that in living together what matters most is matching personalities. In reality, matching personalities is not as important as matching hearts. And for hearts to resonate, there must be patience, compassion, and wisdom. Living together means learning together every day, not first to fix the other person according to our ideas, but to correct ourselves so that we are in alignment with the Dharma. Patience is not humiliating endurance. It is an inner strength that prevents careless words and everyday friction from becoming the roots of deep suffering. Patience is knowing when to keep silent, seeing clearly the anger rising in ourselves, but not allowing it to explode. Practice does not require retreating into a deep mountain or abandoning one's family. It is enough that each day we know how to listen to each other with a quiet heart, to stop before speaking words that wound, to take a deep breath before reacting, and to say thank you and I'm sorry sincerely. These may seem like small practices, but they are wonderfully powerful. And resisting here does not mean resisting the other person, but resisting our own ego, the ego that wants to be right, wants to be above others, wants to be obeyed, to be loved exactly in the way it demands. The more we can resist that ego, the more stable our happiness becomes. In the end, when both partners practice, resist the ego, and cultivate patience together, marriage is no longer a chain of bondage. It becomes a peaceful stream where each conflict is an opportunity to understand each other better, and each wound is material for healing one another in the light of the Buddhist teachings. Middle age and the art of letting go in marriage. Middle age is a stretch of road where we are no longer completely overwhelmed by making a living, yet not fully at ease to put down all worries. It is the phase when many couples start to feel distant, not because love has ended, but because they have walked together so long that they have stopped truly listening to one another. Many people see their spouse as merely a habit, no longer curious, no longer appreciative, and no longer patient. But it is precisely at this stage that the Dharma offers a profound lesson. Letting go does not mean letting go of the person, but letting go of the ego. When we are young, we easily want to change the other person, to force them into the image we desire. The more we mature, the more we realize that no one is born to match the expectations inside another person's head. If we cling tightly to our inner, ideal image, we will miss the real, living human being right beside us. Letting go is accepting that our wife is no longer as fresh and radiant as she was in the early days, that our husband is no longer as attentive as he was when we first fell in love. It is understanding that everyone has flaws, and that love is no longer the urge to possess, but the commitment to nurture. It is letting go of old stories and past mistakes so that we do not spend our days gnawing at each other with memories. Some couples only truly love each other peacefully when they grow old. No more arguments, no more needing to win. She quietly mends his shirt. He shuffles over to bring her a bowl of medicine. They do not need many words. Every action is a way of letting go of perfectionism, letting go of expectations, and keeping only one thing: the wish to walk together through this whole lifetime. That is enough. Marriage in middle age is the art of gentle, profound letting go, not to lose each other, but to keep each other in a lighter, softer way, in mindful love and a wakeful heart. Learn to cherish, to feel enough, to let go. There are things we do not value while they are still in our hands. There are people who are beside us every day, yet we pass by them carelessly as if their presence were something automatic and guaranteed. Only when we lose someone do we suddenly realize that they had always been a part of us, quiet and irreplaceable. The Buddha teaches that happiness does not lie in great or magnificent things, but in a heart that knows how to cherish what it already has. In marriage, it is the same. A simple meal with someone waiting at home, a gentle question at the end of the day, a peaceful gaze instead of a reproachful one. All of these are gifts, if we are awake enough to see them. To know how to cherish is to recognize that the person beside us also has their own private sorrows, unhealed wounds, and unspoken longings. It is to listen to each other more and judge each other less. It is to feel gratitude because someone has chosen to walk with us through so many years, not perfect, but sincere. To know what is enough is not to expect the other person to always be right, always gentle, always meeting every one of our expectations. It is to accept that love is not always as passionate as it was at the beginning. But if we can still share a meal together, if we are still patient enough to sit and listen to each other, then that is already enough. And to know how to let go does not mean abandoning one another, but letting go of the attachments that make us suffer, letting go of control, letting go of the demand that the other must change. It is allowing love to return to its true nature, free within connection, gentle within companionship. When husband and wife know how to cherish, to feel enough, and to let go, then no matter how many storms they pass through, they still hold hands without heaviness in the heart. And what remains is a single word: peace. The wisdom of the Dharma, karmic force, and a peaceful heart. The Buddha's Dharma teaches that every relationship in our life is governed by cause and effect. No one comes to us by accident. The life partner we meet in this lifetime may be someone who once loved us, once hated us, once owed us a debt, or once was sheltered, guided, and protected by us. In the endless round of rebirth, wholesome affinities and knots of resentment alike will find their way back to be settled and transformed. Karmic force is not a sentence of punishment, it is a lesson, and a peaceful heart is the key that helps us pass through that lesson in the lightest way. If we suffer in marriage, it is not necessarily because the other person is so terrible, but because we have not yet understood the karma within ourselves. Sometimes we are simply reaping the fruits of seeds of ignorance we planted through countless lifetimes. Sometimes the person beside us is only a mirror, reflecting the unfinished, imperfect parts of our own being. When the mind is restless, even light karma feels heavy. But when the mind is at peace, even heavy karma can become light, like drifting clouds. A peaceful heart is not peaceful because life is always favorable, but because we understand the nature of life as impermanent, interdependent, and governed by cause and effect. When we look at life through the light of the Buddha's teachings, we no longer blame others, no longer resent our fate. We quietly learn, practice, and transform. Each time we release a single attachment, an old karmic knot is loosened. Someone once asked, "If I live with a person who makes me suffer, how can I be at peace?" The answer lies in this. Suffering does not reside in that person. It lies in the way we react, in our misplaced expectations, in the faith we have put in the wrong place. The Buddha does not ask us to endure blindly. The Buddha teaches us to look deeply. And when we look deeply, we will see that the person beside us has not come to make us suffer, but to help us complete a portion of our karmic bond, to help us learn how to love without imprisoning, how to let go while still remaining full of loving kindness. Cause and effect, karmic force, and the roots of marriage. Marriage, under the light of the Dharma, is not merely the result of love, but the fruit of cause and effect and karmic force from many lifetimes. Every couple who meets, falls in love, and chooses to walk together on this worldly journey never does so by chance. It is always a subtle arrangement of the law of cause and effect. Some people come to repay kindness. Some come to repay a debt. Some come to learn the lesson of forgiveness. And some come to remind us that true love is not possession, but knowing when to let go. A person with great merit will meet a wholesome, virtuous life partner, one who is harmonious and supportive, helping both to progress on the path. A person still carrying heavy karma will meet a difficult, contrary partner, like a mirror reflecting the inner mind that still has many shortcomings. Yet whether the conditions are favorable or adverse, the most important thing is that we have come together to learn the path of being human, not to torment each other in suffering. The Buddha teaches, if you want to know what your past life was like, look at your present. If you want to know what your future life will be like, look at what you are doing now. Therefore, if our present marriage still has many wounds, we should not rush to blame. Instead, we should return to sowing wholesome seeds, in our speech, in our actions, and in our thoughts, all held in mindfulness. Sometimes just a single word spoken with kindness, a look filled with understanding, or a quiet act of patience is enough to dissolve resentments carried from past lives. Gradually, the marriage that once felt like a burden no longer feels heavy, but becomes a path of practice, of awakening, and of repaying old debts in peace and love. Live wholesomely, keep the mind pure, and cherish the one beside you. Life is like a river. People come and go. The shores of happiness and suffering are just bends shaped by karmic conditions that we must pass through to grow. And the life partner now by our side, whether gentle or difficult, understanding or still full of differences, is not a random stranger, but someone who shares a karmic thread with us that is very deep and very old. If we truly understand this, we will complain less, demand less, and stop seeing marriage as a burden. Instead, we learn how to be grateful. Grateful that we still have someone to share joys and sorrows with. Grateful that we still have a home to return to. Grateful that we still have a karmic bond that allows us to look back at ourselves every day. Living wholesomely does not mean trying to become a perfect person. It means living each day with a kind heart, speaking gentle words, and doing what is upright. Keeping the mind pure does not mean running away from life, but learning how to live in the midst of waves and storms while remaining calm inside, undisturbed by gossip, unshaken by bursts of anger. And finally, cherish the one beside you. Do not wait until they are no longer there to regret what you did not do. Do not wait until the karma between you is finished before realizing that this person was a blessing you once had. We do not know what tomorrow will bring, but as long as we can still hold each other's hand, let us hold it with all our sincerity. As long as we can still speak a loving word, let us speak it with a fully awake heart. For sometimes, just a single change arising from within is enough for a painful karmic bond to blossom into a flower. And a marriage that once seemed like a set of chains can become a doorway opening onto true peace, in the light of compassion and wisdom.